My name is Derek Glover. I'm with the National Fire Department. Today we're going to talk about SCBA. In particular, we're going to talk about breathing, and we're also going to cover a daily inspection on over the SCBA. Some of the reference I'll use were the Firefighter Skills, 2nd edition, Chapter 2. So as far as the overview, the firefighters, our most important responsibility is to finish each shift safely. We want to make it home to our family. And this consists of knowing your job, understanding the risks you face, and taking the steps to eliminate those risks. Our self-contained breathing apparatus, we call our SCBA, and that's we can consider that one of the most important tools to ensuring our safety when we're on the fire grounds. As far as respiratory protection goes, when we're the interior atmosphere of a burning building, that we consider that the IDLH. That's the immediately dangerous to life and health. And on the other hand, we must be proficient in using our SCBA before engaging in interior fire suppression activities. So using our SCBA and being confident in using it. So that means any evolutions you do, if you put it on, the more you use it, the more confident you're going to be, the more comfortable you're going to be when you're on the fire grounds. Respiratory hazards of fires. So visible smoke contains many different highly toxic products. Combustion consumes the oxygen. It can lower oxygen level needed to support life. And some of the gases in smoke are carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, and phosgene. And there's many superheated gases put off during a fire. So obviously wearing your SCBA is going to be very important. And that's even going in the front door. Right there catching that extra smoke can cause a lot of problems later on in life, and then right there as well. When does it require to wear your SCBA? Well, obviously anywhere in any enclosed area where smoke's visible or where there is smoke. The one time we probably don't wear it as much as we should is during the overhaul, and it's really important to wear it because the air is free. So until the air is tested and the safety officer pretty much decides it's safe to be in there without your SCBA, it's important to have it on. And whenever toxic gases are in an oxygen deficient atmosphere as possible. So a good rule of thumb, basically, firefighters should always assume that the atmosphere is hazardous until tested and proven safe. So basically the path of air through your SCBA. So the air is going to pass through your cylinder, and it goes, here's your shutoff valve. So it's going to come through your shutoff valve and passes through your regulator. And the air from your regulator is high pressure and it's turned to low pressure, and next it goes directly into your face piece. And we'll get through all the components of the SCBA here shortly. But just kind of an overview and a hindsight of exactly how it's happening. So basically the air goes into your face piece, and that's where you inhale the air, and then it passes into your lungs, obviously. Now when the user exhales, when you exhale, it goes back into the face piece, and then it escapes through an exhalation valve. A lot of people use different techniques to make their bottles last longer, get the most out of them they can. One of those techniques is the skip breathing technique. It's obviously used to help conserve air. So basically the idea behind it is you take a short breath, and before you exhale you hold for a second and take another short breath, and then you relax with a long exhale. And this in turn can help lower your heart rate. It can kind of calm you down. Obviously you're not going to be able to do this while you're working and actually pulling ceiling or in there fighting fire. Your adrenaline's going to be running. So the whole skip breathing technique's probably out the window on that. But if you're in there, you kind of get a break and you can gather yourself. It's a good technique to use. And I feel like, as far as breathing goes with SCBA, it's good to know, your SCBA limitations, because you want to get the most out of your bottle, and you kind of want to know what you're going in with. Obviously, duration of a working SCBA is limited to the capacity of the cylinder. We use 45-minute bottles. But as far as, structural firefighting, you must have enough to at least carry for 30 minutes. And these duration ratings are based on ideal laboratory conditions. So basically, if you're, there's probably somebody sitting in a room with the SCBA on and just, room air temperature and just breathing to see how long it lasts. And obviously when we use these, we're not in an ideal laboratory setting. Some other limitations is the weight of the SCBA alone. I mean, it weighs 25 pounds, and along with all your other gear, that's obviously going to it's going to raise your heart rate with your adrenaline. It's going to make you breathe harder, so you're going to use air faster. And obviously the size of the unit is also going to make it difficult for you to fit into small places. I mean, if you're trying to fit through studs and say you're trying to get to the attic, the weight alone is going to, and the size is going to cause you to work harder, which in turn you're going to breathe harder. So that bottle is not going to last as long as the full 45 minutes. But then to me, that's where your training comes in handy. If you're ever training and you're wearing it and you get used to it and you can learn little tricks to get through those small places faster, and you won't work as hard. And obviously the added weight and bulk decrease users' flexibility and mobility and shifts user center of gravity. So obviously if you're leaning down to grab something, you got that extra weight on you, just be careful because it can make you tip over. As far as your face piece goes, it can cause limited visibility. Your peripheral vision is going to be harder to see out the side of your mask. Obviously when you're working and you're sweating, your face piece is going to fog up. I know we've all been through it, and we're wiping our face with our gloves, and it's getting nasty. So as far as the visibility goes, it's definitely limited. And it's also your ability to communicate is affected, and your noisy breathing is also going to make it hard to hear your guys you're in there working with. As far as our SCBAs go that we use, the MSA G1, compared to the last ones we have, the radio communication, or as far as the radio that's built into the pack, makes it a lot easier to communicate, and hearing's a lot better with it too. You don't have to push the button on your mask to make it work. So as soon as you turn your SCBA on, it's ready to go, and you put your mask on. Physical limitations, obviously we've been on them, but they're still important, and that's, to me, keeping your body in shape. It's going to help with this. Training, you can't say that enough. But moving with the extra weight with the SCBA and your PPE requires additional energy, and that's going to increase your air consumption and your body temperature, along with your adrenaline, and that's going to make your breathing a lot more difficult. Psychological limitations. Breathing through an SCBA is different from obviously breathing, and can be very difficult, stressful. If you're sitting here, you're just breathing, it's fine, but you throw that SCBA on and you got that face piece on and you're in all, the heat and everything else, it's going to cause stressful situations. Obviously, it's your surrounding environment, which could be full of smoke, dark, you can't hardly see anyways. And firefighters must adjust to these stressful conditions, and that just comes with experience. It comes with training, blacking out your mask, any little evolutions you do, just kind of use all your senses instead of just your eyes. Firefighters obviously need to be prepared to react if any emergency occurs while using your SCBA. And it's easy to say, but your best thing is you got to try to keep calm and stop, and then kind of think about your next step and what you're going to do. You should exit the hostile environment, and if in danger, activate your pass device, which we'll cover here in a second, which is located on your SCBA. You can always use your hand lights to attract attention, or use your portable radio to call for help. Our G1s are set up with our buddy breathing, which if you're in you get, called out somewhere and your air gets low, but your partner still has some left. you can take it from the side, you hook this hose into here, and then as soon as you hook it into your partners, it equals out your air with theirs, so it can gives you extra air and gives you more opportunity to exit the environment you're in. And when your air gets low on these, there's a light, the LED light that pops up, so it makes that real easy to see. Well, it's supposed to make it easy to see, but when it's dark and smoky, I mean, it's still going to be difficult. You kind of feel around for it. Our PASS device. Our PASS is alert. It's a personal alert safety system. It's an electronic device that sounds a loud audible signal if a firefighter is motionless for a set time period, or if the firefighter activates it. So if you're sitting around, I mean, if you're standing there still, we've all heard them, you know, they start going off 15, 20 seconds. You shake it, it goes off, and then if you don't move for another 15, 20 seconds, it goes off again. Or you can actually, if you're in trouble, or you know something's wrong with your regulator or anything, you can always activate it yourself. There's a couple different types of PASS devices. They can be separate from or integrated into the SCBA unit. Ours that we use here are integrated, so basically they automatically turn on when the SCBA is activated, and if it's separate, it would basically it's worn on the SCBA harness and must be turned on manually. So the components of our SCBA: the backpack, which is the frame mounting the other working parts of the SCBA. So that's going to be this big plastic piece right here. That's going to be our back. That's considered the backpack. The harness, which is in it, all the straps and fasteners that attach to the firefighter. So the shoulder straps, your waist straps, that's going to be all considered part of your harness. Your air cylinder, obviously, is it holds the breathing air for the SCBA. Here's your air cylinder here. It has a neck equipped with a hand-operated shut-off valve, which is located on the back. So there's your valve to turn it on and off. And your pressure gauge is located near the shut-off valve, and it'll always show how much air you got left in your bottle. And your regulator is located here, and this controls the airflow to the user, which would be the firefighter. Here's a picture of the MSA. That's the G1 that we actually use. And then one of the nice, I guess one of the more upgrades that we had when we got these was the heads-up display inside the mask. And when you put it on, it's got the lights. And the green means you're full of air, and as you run out of air or your air gets low, it's kind of a good way for the user to keep up with how much air they're using and how much they have left. Those lights will go from yellow to red before you actually run out of air. So, I mean, just, you know, you'll be able to, it's always there in your face. You can keep an eye on it so you know how much air you got left. So your SCBA inspection and maintenance. The SCBA must be properly serviced and prepared for the next use each time it is used. Your air cylinder must be changed or refilled. Once again, you come in the morning, you always want to check it off. You definitely don't want to show up at a fire with an empty bottle or a half-empty bottle. You go in with your partner that's got a full bottle, and then you got to pull them out because, of course, we go in together. We always come out, but you know, you didn't check your stuff off that morning. You go in with half a bottle, and then y'all got to come out too early, and you're not going to be able to do your job. And of course, we don't, as far as changing and refilling, we don't run into them issues most of the time. I mean, we make a fire, the air truck's there, before we ever put them back on the apparatus, we change our bottles and make sure they're full. Facepiece and regulator must be sanitized according to the manufacturer's instructions, and the unit must be cleaned, inspected, and checked for proper operation. And that's part of our daily inspection. We go over that every morning, and I'm actually gonna run through that here in just a second. But anytime we use them, you know, you come out of a fire, especially that Facepiece, it's important to get in there and clean all that stuff out, because you don't want to keep breathing that in. It's good to go ahead and rinse that headpiece off, because it keeps all them carcinogens and everything. You start sweating, you're going to soak them back in the next time you use it. Obviously, it's the user's responsibility to ensure that the SCBA is in ready condition before it is returned to the fire apparatus, and daily inspection procedures should be used when restoring a unit to service and after it has been used. If your SCBA reveals any problem that cannot be remedied by routine maintenance, it needs to be removed from service. That's when you let your captain know, and then they can run it up the chain of command from there. You move forward in our daily inspection forms, we fill all that out too. You put it in there. And only properly trained and certified personnel are authorized to repair the SCBA. So our daily inspection. So when you come in the morning, you're going to start by checking your backpack. You're going to check your harness for any frayed, any cuts. I mean, you don't want to get in there and that thing break on you, and then you're in trouble. Check your harness for any cracks, any of this plastic. And these are still fairly new, so it's not a big issue right now, but you'll make sure nobody got in there and got burned. You know, and these are burnt halfway through and they didn't notice it the day before. It's not a bad idea to go ahead and unhook the bottle. You can take it out and check for any gashes or anything that may cause it to, that can give you trouble later on. Of course, we'll check the condition of all your hoses, so we'll go ahead and check your bypass. I'll take care of that. So we want to turn it all the way on. So our pass device will turn on. We're going to check our gauge. Look for the green check, and it shows we got 4,300 pounds. Of course, we checked all our hoses for any cracks, any dry rot, anything that may cause some air to leak later on. We're going to check our Facepiece. Go ahead and make pass device work. Put this on the ground for me. Radio works. Then we can slowly shut it off. And we can check our lights to make sure. Our green lights work. Bell works. And then you check your seal. That's a good way to go through everything. You want to make sure that bell's So if you ever do run into trouble, that bell's gonna go off, and that's a good way to check your lights, to make sure they're working daily. And at the end, of course, when you get done, you wanna go make sure you document everything, so you're covered, and it's ready for the next shift. So basically, summary day, I mean, the breathing for the apparatus, the one technique kinda went through was the skip breathing and our daily inspection. And if you have any questions? Yes, I'd be